How's camp been so far?
It's been good. I mean, we've had, today's, I think the trainer said that the humidity was something like 90-something%, and I don't think it's that hot, but I mean, it drains the fluid, so we've been pushing the fluids and taking it a little bit easy. We had a couple very good days of, contact, and a day of light and contact, and we've been very enthusiastic. I've liked the effort. I've liked the enthusiasm, top to bottom on the roster. We have a lot of places to fill. We've got a young squad and a lot of situations, but I've loved the effort. We've tried to emphasize this is the process. We want to get a little bit better today, and if we can inch forward every day, then you're building on something, and that's kind of been the theme of the camp, and I think our kids have bought into that because we have worked hard to get better every day, and for the most part we have. We've had some, like today's a tough day because of just the humidity. The kids, you can see they're wilting out here. We get on the field at 6:45. I think maybe you came between practices kind of when you didn't expect to, in part because we got out earlier so we could get off earlier, so we could get out earlier, so we could get off earlier to avoid the worst of this stuff. And so we were trying to do that and trying to stay as fresh as possible. But no, it's been a good camp so far. Now we'll find out tomorrow because we got our scrimmage. I know Wycliffe had a three-way with, I believe, Gilmore and Kirtland just the other day. So they're a little bit battle tested, and I know they're an older team because they had a lot of junior laden team last year. So we'll see where we are. I mean, you always want to see how you stack up.
And I know you don't have as many starters returning, but you have a lot of the letter winners. Do you still feel like you have a good amount of experience returning?
Well, we have youngish experience. We were forced by injury. We had just a decimated senior class last year. I mean, that sounds like an excuse, but not in that vein. And in that vein, we had a lot of kids, freshmen and sophomores, that got their feet wet. Sometimes that was, a bit of an unfortunate situation when you do that. But now they come back and they've got a little bit of experience. So we feel pretty good about that. Anytime you have someone who's a part-time player, gets in, gets his feet wet, now the next year you're going to be the guy to do this. These scrimmages in August, and then the first game in August, and maybe by the second game, by the third game, that person is either going to be rise to the occasion and be able to handle that, or still having some difficulties. And that happens every year on every team, that there's a growing up process. And usually by game 3, that's the first real crisp football game. Oftentimes the first football game, you say, oh boy, we look sloppy, and their coach says, oh boy, we look sloppy. And it isn't really sloppy, but it's a work in progress, as they say.
Matt Carney, what makes him somebody? What has he done this camp, or his first year that makes him somebody
well,
that you can
he got his feet wet. He's one of those guys that got his feet wet last year. He's a pretty good defensive back, and he will be playing a cornerback, as you said, a sophomore cornerback, or maybe safety. We're looking for our 4 best defensive backs in all aspects of the game, and then sorting that out. And it's clear he's as of today anyway, he's certainly one of the top 4 defensive backs, whether he plays safety or cornerback is. But the other aspect is we graduated quarterback, and our other quarterback, who was Kyle, basically a running quarterback, and
now he's a running back,
and he's I think a good running quarterback and a very good running back. So that's why we made that switch, to get him more touches as a carrier than a distributor. He's the guy we want to distribute to, so it seemed like we had it backwards a little bit. Not that he was pretty good as a quarterback, and we didn't move him because we were unhappy with him as a quarterback, but him distributing the ball to somebody else was less good than somebody distributing the ball to Kyle. So we made that switch. What we have is now a sophomore, who's Matt Carney, quarterback. You may have noticed before he put his stuff on, he went to his quarterback camp t-shirt all over his shirt. And a guy that's played split end slot back for us the past 3 years, if he wins the job, everyone will look and say, well, scratch your head, he's number 44. He said, can he keep his number? I said, sure, you can keep your number. He's a senior, but he has, worked at quarterback, and I don't want to say he's a second-string quarterback, because he never was, but he's worked at the position. He's got a live arm. He's got a good presence, and I couldn't tell you right now who's going to start. But your question was about Matt Carney. Matt Carney could easily be starting quarterback on this team. I mean, that's still in the mix. It's still in the wait and see. It'll play itself out. Okay. But he's done a great job in terms of being a quarterback. He's been a quarterback since, as all these kids when they start at 10 or 11 years old. He's now 16 years old. He's been a quarterback for, probably 6-7 years. Yeah. So he has a load of experience, obviously not at the varsity level, but we feel pretty confident with him as a quarterback. Again, it's gonna depend on a variety of variables. But he's loaded with potential.
Cool. Kyle Sims, what do you talking about him being somebody that you want ball in his hands? What do you want to see for him? What do you want to see from him to progress from the year he had last year as a running back?
Well, obviously experience 1 year under his belt will make him better. 10 pounds of muscle will make him better.
Yeah.
But having said that, he gained nearly 700 yards in about 6 games.
Yeah.
So to say how much more he's going to do over 10 games, I don't know. If he runs at the clip he ran last year over a full season, that's a pretty darn good season. I expect him to be better. I expect him to be more authoritative with his running. We're going to move him around. He'll line up what I guess traditionally would look like a fullback slot because it's not deep enough to be a tailback, but the guy right behind the quarterback, and he'll be in our nomenclature, he'll be a halfback.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll be in the slot. Sometimes we'll move him around like people like to do with their talented guys. They say, keep in mind, we're going to be looking for number so-and-so, wherever he's lined up. That's what we want to know, and he'll be that guy for us.
Okay. Cool. And then your offensive line, you have a little experience there. Is that something you see as a strength for you?
No, I see our offensive line as not an Achilles heel or a weakness, but a real work in progress. Mm-hmm. We've got one kid who you said you wanted to see, Austin Claddick, by far our most experienced guy.
Yeah.
He has played a little varsity for 4 years. He's an intelligent lineman. He's played guard. He's a natural tackle. He'll play tackle for us. Then we have another senior who's he lettered last year, but he was only a part-timer. He's a bigger boy, and he's going to have to. He's still got a ways to go to be in 90-degree weather shape.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. And then a young man, and he's a nice story. He came out as a sophomore. He moved into the district. Came out as a sophomore. Played JV in a little varsity last year. Is going to be our starting center. So we'll see how that goes. He's a rookie, although he's a senior, first-year senior starter. And then we've got some underclassmen. We have a sophomore, Isaiah Tucker. He'll probably start at one of the guards. And in all honesty, we've got 2 or 3 guys in the mix for the other guard, and none of them were varsity players last year. They were JVs or whatever. So we'll be an inexperienced line, even with experienced guys, just because a line, as you read in all the media and as we stress to our guys, it's a unit. Mm-hmm. And once you get that unit has to begin to function in tandem with each other.
Right.
And we're just starting to do that. I mean, really, we've been mixing and matching guys all camp just because we knew we were in that state of flux. And tomorrow's the first day we're going to trot guys out and really get an evaluation, a real evaluation. We had a red and black scrimmage on Saturday, and it was good, but it's not the same as somebody else.
Yeah.
And so we'll kind of figure it out from there. I think it's going to be something that has to be decent for us to be good. It has to be the thing that steps up.
Yeah.
We've got Kyle, we mentioned. We have Jimmy Wilcox, is a senior, can play both halfback and fullback. Is a letterman from last year on both sides. I mean, he played. He was in and out. He had a back issue part of the year, but he was a starter at one time, both at linebacker and at running back last year. Then we have another senior, Addison Dorn, who's played halfback and slot back for us, coming back. And we have a couple, 2 or 3 talented sophomores. Number 28, Trey Shirkey, is 6'1", 220 pounds, sophomore fullback.
Yeah.
And he's the sort of rumbling, stumbling kind of guy that can do some damage out there as well. So we feel that our backs complement each other, and as a stable of guys, I don't know that we have that one guy. It would be Kyle if it is. One guy that's going to be the 1,500-yard rusher, but we have a bunch of guys we can look to in a wing T. Obviously, when guys go in various ways and assignment conflict and all that kind of stuff. And we feel that we're relatively inexperienced but hopeful at quarterback. If the line gels, we've got something. You talked about Hayden Cummins. He's a 6'2", 205-pound junior. He's got a world of experience playing basketball, both JV and varsity, so he's got those ball skill kind of things. And he's gotten noticeably stronger in the summer program, and you know, since he got out of basketball in March, and we do expect big things from him as well. So it could come together. It needs to come together, and we'll see where that goes. But the line is what we're not worried about, but we're wanting to develop.
Working on.
Yeah.
All right.